If you're an athlete with performance anxiety, then you know how hurtful it can be on your game. Anxiety can be one of the main reasons why you play better in practices than you do in games. But did you know this has a lot to do with the fact that anxiety can actually cause you to hide during a game? No, not actually run behind the dugout or back into the locker room and hide, but hide by doing as little as possible. It all has to do with the fear driving your anxiety. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStarterThan.com. Welcome to video number 2 in this 4-part series on overcoming your sports performance anxiety. Go ahead and click right here if you haven't watched video number 1, where I go into detail about what sports performance anxiety is, kind of the factors that make up sports performance anxiety, along with the main cause of sports performance anxiety. Now in this video, we're gonna discuss how anxiety is gonna hold you back during a game. So what would you say you're the most worried about whenever you're playing? Is it playing badly or is it playing well? Most athletes I work with who are dealing with performance anxiety worry about making mistakes. They don't wanna make mistakes, so they worry about them. A great example is a golfer who was worried about missing short putts. She knew they were putts that she should sink, and so she was worried about not missing them and seeing her score go down. Not to mention the worries that she had relating to her coaches and her teammates' disappointment. So we can see that anxiety in sports is caused by worries about the future, but more specifically, the fears of making mistakes. If you were only focused on playing well and you truly had the belief that you would play well, there wouldn't be a whole lot to worry about. You'd simply go out there and you'd compete with full confidence and have faith that your performance was going to go the way that you want. But when there is a lack of confidence due to fear surrounding your mistakes, your mind's natural response is to worry and grow anxious about not wanting to make a mistake. This has to do with control. You cannot fully control whether or not you make a mistake. And when we think about things that we can't control, we tend to worry. That is where your anxiety is going to be coming from. So what does all this fear, which causes anxiety, have to do with you hiding while competing? Well, do you know the quickest way to not make a mistake during a game? Don't put yourself in a position to make a mistake. Anxiety shifts your goal from wanting to play well to not wanting to make mistakes. And there is a very big difference in how these two goals lead you to actually play. When you want to play well, you are aggressive. You're out there working towards success. You could say that you are playing more offensively. In contrast, when your goal is to not mess up, you don't have to play well in order to reach your goal. You simply need to avoid screwing up. So you could say that you're out there playing more defensively. It's better to have a neutral game where you didn't do much than it is to make a mistake. If your entire focus is on not wanting to make a mistake, you're going to notice yourself avoiding situations that could actually cause you to make a mistake. But funny enough, this avoidance can be the very thing that causes you to mess up in the first place. Not to mention the frustration that you feel knowing that you held yourself back. Let's say that you are a soccer player and your goal is to not make any mistakes because of the anxiety that you feel. This anxiety will lead you to play timidly and hide during the game. This is going to look like you may be running to places where there are more defenders so as to make yourself someone who's tough to pass to, or by passing the ball quickly as soon as you get it. The same way of playing is true for basketball players who are trying to hide. If you have an open shot during a game, you may pass it off so as to not have to shoot, which shooting would open you up to the possibility of missing. In sports like baseball and softball, it can be a lot more difficult to hide since you are the one up to bat or playing your position in the field. But the same principle of laying low and playing it safe is going to apply. With batters, this will look like maybe being indecisive and not swinging the bat with full confidence. And in the field, you may shy away from going after a ball that's close to you since you don't want to make an error. But when you do play it safe, working hard to not make a mistake rather than competing with a mind focused on playing well, it can leave you feeling embarrassed and actually frustrated with yourself. When I was in high school and at times during college, I admittedly hid. Everything I've explained up to this point applied to me. I was anxious and scared of making mistakes. And while hiding at times, did save me from making an embarrassing mistake, it welcomed another embarrassing feeling, one I would argue was even worse. The embarrassment of knowing that I hid because I was scared. To be honest with you, I felt like a coward. This also led to a lot of frustration because I was training hard outside of games and tryouts, but then hiding when it mattered the most. It made no sense to me and felt like the work that I was putting in was worthless. Have you ever felt that way? Now, many athletes I've worked with who've dealt with performance anxiety have had very similar feelings, especially feelings of frustration knowing that they are the very ones holding themselves back due to the fear that they have. As was the case for me, it can quickly seem like the training that you're putting in is pointless if you're only gonna go out there and hide and play it safe during games. But here's the good news. Your training isn't going to waste, at least not if you get a handle on your anxiety. It is the anxiety that is keeping you from playing well. All of those skills that you have developed and that you've worked hard to build, they're there. They're just waiting to be unleashed during games. And by reducing this anxiety, you no longer have to play it safe and hide, and you will be surprised just at how much your performance level actually increases. So go ahead and watch this video right here that goes into detail on a strategy that you can use to manage your anxiety in the moment and allow yourself to play with full confidence and freedom during games.